Hi there, fifth graders. We are working on Storm Runners, which we're reading with permission from Scholastic. And I'm so excited because Mrs. Hernandez went in and to the school and she actually got my book. And I was thinking to myself, why is it still going so slowly? And it's because we're just barely starting quadrant two. So all we've been able to do so far is gather information about problems and characters and settings and things like that. But I was thinking we were into the repeated ideas, and we really aren't very far into the repeated ideas at all. So I'm going to show you a little bit. I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to share this Google slideshow with you. And it's going to take me just a second to get used to this. I'm going to go to the presentation look. So it is not the end of quadrant two, which is saying right down there. It's actually kind of the beginning of quadrant two. We've talked about the characters. We've been gathering information about them. We know that Chase is a main character. He misses his mom and his sister, and he feels pretty separated from his dad. We know that John Masters is his dad. He got struck by lightning, and he doesn't want to talk about his family. He's almost kind of running away. Tomas is loyal. He speaks Spanish. He has a lot of kids, and he's a good builder. Marco Rossi is a little person, and he's worried about his elephant. Nicole Rossi is Chase's age. She swims and she likes animals. And Mama Rossi is Nicole's grandmother. She knows the future and the past sometimes, and she thinks the storm is coming to her house. The setting so far, like we talked about before, is Chase's house, then driving on the road, then the Rossi's farm. And so far, the problems and the solutions are Chase's dad got struck by lightning. That actually had a solution. John recovered. Chase feels like he's not close to his dad, and we don't have a solution for that yet. And Mama Rossi and John disagree about the storm. We don't have a solution for that yet. We don't know where the storm is going to happen. What is your prediction? Who do you agree with? Do you agree with John or do you agree with Mama Rossi? Okay. We are at 7:42 p.m. We do have a few repeated ideas in quadrant two, which is the time, and also that very unusual things keep happening. I mean, it's very unusual to have somebody get struck by lightning or to go to a farm and have it be a circus farm. So there are some unusual things happening. 7:42 p.m. Chase sat with the Rossis in their kitchen in front of enough food to feed a bunkhouse of roughnecks for a week. Pork chops, fried chicken, garlic mashed potatoes, a trough of Caesar salad. It wasn't really in a trough. That's just figurative language. It's describing it like a trough, which is the big thing that horses and cattle eat out of. Steamed beans, fresh baked rolls, and of course, sweet potato pie. All delicious, especially the pie. It might have been the best meal he'd ever eaten. It was certainly the most entertaining, with the Rossis telling him story after story of their life in the circus, pausing once in a while to glance over at Emily on the television. Now I'm going to change my voice because, see, this is written in bold, and it's supposed to be the radio announcer, so I'm going to change my voice. Emily has the makings of a Category 5 hurricane. The question is, where is she going to make landfall and when? For the very latest information, let's go to our meteorologist, Cindy Stewart. Cindy? Well, Richard, it's a little premature to say Emily's going to be a Category 5 hurricane, but she is gathering strength. Right now, Emily is stalled about 150 miles southwest of here with sustained wind in excess of 130 miles per hour, making her a Category 4 at the moment, which is still a potentially devastating storm. Anything in her path is going to be in for a severe pounding. Any idea what her path is going to be? No, we'll have a better idea when Emily starts to move. But even then, she could switch directions. At this point, it's up to fate. That word again, Chase thought. Marco took another scoop of sweet potato pie. His appetite was anything but small. Looks like you'll have school tomorrow, he said. Are you kidding? Nicole said. You can't do everything here by yourself. Chase will be here. Actually, I won't be here, Chase said. If Nicole has school, I have school. And there's that little problem called a Category 5 hurricane coming our way, Nicole added. Besides, what about Pet? If you think I'm going to miss an elephant birth, you're crazy. Marco held up a thumb. I'm not completely crazy. Index finger. Emily's not a Category 5 yet. Middle finger. We don't know Emily's coming this way. Ring finger. Pet might not have her calf for weeks. Little finger. Marco looked at Mama Rossi as if he couldn't think of a fifth reason. What do you think? I think that if there's school, you both need to go. School is important. She glanced at the TV, then added with eerie certainty, after the hurricane, there won't be school for a long time. And they're saying that that's kind of spooky that she knows that. Nicole walked Chase back to the shack and shop. He gave her a tour, which didn't last long. As she was leaving, she paused and asked, why do you always carry your backpack with you? This seems like a safe enough place to leave it, but when we were having dinner, you had it right at your feet. Emergencies. If I get separated or stuck someplace, it has everything I need to keep going for a couple of weeks. No, for a few days. My dad calls it a go bag. We all carry one. It must be strange to travel around from one disaster to another. It's probably not that different than being in the circus. You might be right, Nicole agreed. What time does the bus come? 7:10. Early. We're almost the farthest from town. I can drive us down to the road on the quad, Chase offered. Great. Nicole gave him a smile. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Chase watched Nicole walk away and wondered what his father would say if he told him he wanted to become a lion tamer. 5:46 a.m. Chase pulled on a pair of cargo pants, t-shirt and tennis shoes, then listened to the weather on the radio as he ate breakfast. Emily was stalled in the Gulf of Mexico, gathering strength, making up her mind where to go. Now, Emily's not really a person, but they're talking about this storm like she's a person. That's called personification, when you talk about something that's not real as if it was a real person. His cell phone rang. What time is it? His father asked. 6 o'clock, exactly. That's what I thought. How do I know you're not looking at the time on your cell phone? Because your old man wouldn't lie to you. How are things there? I'm getting ready for school. Good. I'm kind of curious about something. What's that? I was wondering where all our old photos are, of the family. I gave them to your Uncle Bob for safekeeping. We don't have a lot of room in the shack, and storing them in the place we go is a good way to lose them. What made you think about that? I don't know. Maybe hearing the name Emily over and over again. His father was silent for several seconds and then said, I can see that, but the name's just a coincidence. They alternate female and male names every hurricane season, starting with the letter A. This year it's been Arlene, Brett, Cindy, Dawn, and now Emily. I better get going. Tomas is over at the restaurant. Everything okay? Yeah. Stay alert, Chase. I will. Talk to you later. His father ended the call. 7:45 a.m. The school bus slowed down several times along the route, but didn't stop because there was no one waiting to be picked up. When they finally arrived at Palm Breeze Middle School, the bus was only half full. The first time Chase had enrolled himself in a new school, he'd been nervous. By the third school, it had gotten a lot easier. This time, with Nicole leading him into the office, it was no big deal at all. She introduced him to the receptionist, Mrs. O'Leary. Chase is staying with us, she said. His dad is helping people get ready for the hurricane. This was not exactly what Chase's father was doing, but he didn't correct her. Mrs. O'Leary peered at Chase above her reading glasses. Your dad knows where the hurricane's going to hit? Not really. He's just guessing like everyone else. What's his guess for Emily? 40 or 50 miles south of here in St. Petersburg, St. Pete. I hope he's right. Though if the absence rate is any indication, a lot of parents are guessing differently. Do you have your academic transcripts from your previous school? So lots of kids aren't at school because their parents are afraid that the hurricane is going to hit right there. So some people agree with Mama Rossi, some people agree with Chase's dad, even though they don't know that's who they're agreeing with. Some people think one thing, some people think the other thing. Chase pulled a folder out of his go bag. Attached to the folder was a note from his father with his cell phone number in case they needed to get in touch with him. No school had ever called him. "Take a seat, Chase. Our principal, Dr. Krupp, will talk to you after she gets off the phone." "I'll see you later," Nicole said with a smile, and then joined friends out in the hallway. After about 10 minutes, Dr. Krupp stepped out of her office and invited Chase in. He sat down on the opposite side of her huge desk. As she skimmed his paperwork, he looked around her office. "Did Nicole's brother go to school here?" Chase asked. Dr. Krupp looked up from the folder. "Tony?" "Yes, he was an outstanding student and a wonderful athlete. Nicole is following in his footsteps, but the pool is like her football field." "Is Tony in town?" "No. I was just looking at your diplomas and noticed that you went to the University of Georgia, where he plays." Dr. Krupp smiled for the first time. "Yes, Tony's a bulldog. I like to think I had something to do with that, but he made up his own mind. The Rossis are an independent bunch, but you probably know that." Normally, Chase would have let her hold on to her assumptions that he knew the Rossis well, but he was tired of tries, and instead of T-R-Y, they're spelling it T-R-I, tries. That's what his mother called a statement or even silence that was not quite the truth, but not exactly a lie. When Chase or anyone in the family pulled one on her, she'd say, "Nice try. Now try again." "I just met the Rossis yesterday," Chase said. "Really?" Dr. Krupp said. "Mrs. O'Leary led me to believe that you were old family friends." "We are friends," Chase said, "but we're new friends." "Are you in the animal or circus business?" Chase shook his head. "We're in the storm business. My father's a contractor." "For the government?" "No, for himself." "MD Emergency Services." Dr. Krupp glanced at the file and then back at Chase. "Is he a doctor and a contractor?" "No," Chase said, "just a contractor." So Chase is really tired of all the half-truths, isn't he? He's tired of kind of tricking people because his father puts MD so people will think, oh, maybe he's a doctor, maybe he's more trustworthy. And Chase is like, nope, that's a try, and I'm done with tries. "We usually have one or both parents bring their kids in when they enroll them," Dr. Krupp said. "My father's working in St. Pete," Chase said. "My mom died a couple of years ago. It's just me and him now." "I'm sorry about your mom, Chase." "Thanks." Dr. Krupp's phone rang and she picked it up. While she talked, Chase looked at the photos of Dr. Krupp's family, 3 kids and a husband who looked like a movie star, which surprised him. Dr. Krupp was okay looking, but far from glamorous, and for some reason her husband looked familiar, but Chase couldn't remember where he'd seen the man before. Dr. Krupp hung up the phone. "Now, where were we?" "You can call my dad if you want," Chase said. "He always answers his cell." His dad carried a beat-up cell phone on a lanyard around his neck so he could get to it without having to reach into his pocket. It looked geeky to Chase, and his mom had hated the phone necklace, as she'd called it, but it was practical. His dad usually answered the phone on the first or second ring. "That won't be necessary," Dr. Krupp said. "I'm sure he's busy, or he'd be here with you." Not necessarily, Chase thought. So Chase is thinking, no, I don't think my dad wants to be with me. Dr. Krupp handed him his class schedule and his locker combination. "This is a good school, Chase. You'll like it here." We're going to pop out of here. And that's going to let me go to stop the sharing and stop the recording. And we'll read some more tomorrow.